I threw a sugar cube 43 times and successfully landed the shot once. According to basic probability, for an unpracticed person, there is roughly a 1 in 8 chance of making the shot. Aside from the fact that I'm a lousy shot, after I made it, I measured everything to the best of my ability and ran the calculations with some help. Of course, due to the lack of proper equipment and other limiting factors, I couldn't measure everything precisely, such as how long my fingers applied force, air resistance, spin, and etc. This throw depends far more on control and consistency than on strength. The sugar cube should be released at roughly a 45-degree angle with the speed of a relaxed underhand toss, allowing gravity to shape the trajectory efficiently. Since the glass sits below the release point, gravity naturally pulls the cube into the target rather than working against it. The force required is extremely small. The real challenge is precision. At this distance, even a fraction of a degree error in the release angle can cause a miss, making consistency far more important than power. In conclusion, whether you have the precise measurements and know how to exactly make the shot or not, there is always a chance of success. But you don't make shots like this on a daily basis, do you? What about this action? What if I told you even the simple act of drinking water requires precise neurological coordination? The brain processes visual information, directs motor control through the hands, and synchronizes the muscles of the mouth and throat. Multiple systems, such as neural, muscular, and cardiovascular, must function correctly within seconds. A minor disruption, whether internal or external, can turn an automatic action into a point of failure. So there are statistical risks involved in drinking water. There are risks involved in everything. So statistically speaking, the thing that you're thinking about might go wrong. Alright, let me tell you something statistically insane. Right now, out of 8 billion people, you are one human. Out of 400 trillion to 1 odds, you somehow won the biological lottery and got born. And out of 14 to 51 billion YouTube videos, your finger landed on this one. Now when people say the chance of being born is 1 in 400 trillion, the number isn't a fixed scientific constant, it's an estimate. Different calculations include different factors such as sperm competition, timing, ancestry, the evolutionary history. That's it, motherfucker. Change the assumptions and the number shifts from billions to trillions to numbers too large to truly grasp. That's why it's debated. Not because it's wrong, but because the question itself isn't uniquely defined. If you multiply the probabilities, the chance of this exact moment happening is so small that mathematicians almost ran it down to 0. Not rare or unlikely or anything like that, literally 0. So here's the question. If the math says this moment shouldn't exist, then why are we here? Is it because of the luck, the free will, the destiny, or did the universe just glitch for a second? What are the chances? And more importantly, is luck even real? Most people say no. They say everything has a reason, a cause, a formula. But are they right? As I said, there are roughly 14 to 51 billion visible videos on YouTube, and yet somehow your finger landed on this one. The algorithm. But the algorithm is just a fancy way of saying a mathematical guess. And honestly, statistics might be a better word than luck. It sounds more scientific and deliberate. Think about this. That absurdly small probability people call miracles comes from basic biology. It's very simple. Jesus Christ, Jesus fucking Christ. Holy fucking spirit of mother. Maybe it's just why did your sperm cell succeed? Was it strength? Random chance? Or maybe it was just a microscopic accident that we like to romanticize? Some call it destiny. God sent us, and this is his plan. But I don't think so. If everything were destiny, then nothing would be our choice. We'd be characters reading a script written by a higher author. And if that's true, then logically, no one could be punished for anything. Because who punishes a creation for following the exact instruction it was built to follow? Free will, on the other hand, sounds empowering, until you realize how often we question it. Was this really my decision? Or was it shaped by my biology, my past, my environment? Sometimes free will and destiny feel like two sides of the same coin, both invisible forces steering us in ways we don't fully understand. And if neither explains everything, then maybe luck fills in the gaps. We are born by luck. I'm gonna shove this so far. We don't choose our families, the environment that shapes us, or the country that defines our opportunities. We don't choose our appearance, intelligence, or health. These uncontrollable forces form the foundation of our entire life. You can calculate almost any risk, sudden death, winning the lottery, accidents, but knowing the numbers doesn't make the fear disappear. For example, some statistics say that the lifetime chance of being hit by a car is 1 in 471. Not per walk, of course, thank God, but it's still enough to make you think. Shakespeare once wrote, "To be or not to be, that is the question, whether we suffer the chaos of life or fight against it." You didn't expect to hear Shakespeare today, did you? Everything feels random, but randomness still follows numbers. Numbers become equations. Equations become statistics, the science behind the thing that we casually call luck. So what are the odds really? There are billions of videos, and around 2.3 billion people who recognize Shakespeare's name. Yet you and I are here at the same moment talking about him. Not important, but still interesting. And for the record, I'm not saying Shakespeare isn't interesting. I'll suck a fart. Luck exists, and at the same time, it doesn't. Because the odds of winning something like the American Mega Millions lottery is 1 in 302,575,350. Not exactly comforting. So after all this, does certainty die? Can we never tell our friends that we're 100% sure about something? Hear me out. In physical and biological systems, there is always a non-zero probability of failure. Even when an outcome is extremely reliable, it still depends on variables. Environmental conditions, system noise, human error, or random events that can never be perfectly controlled. What we call certainty is usually just probability so high that failure becomes negligible, not impossible. Fucking hell. Only abstract systems like mathematics or formal logic allow 100% accuracy, and it's because they operate under fixed rules. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Reality, however, is governed by uncertainty, variations, and limits of measurements. So risk never fully disappears, it only becomes very small. So yes, you can tell your friends that you're 100% sure that 1 + 1 = 2. If that's not enough, let me just give you another example. I love chess, and in chess, every move is yours. Yet you're still influenced by time, pressure, and the opponent. There are 10 to the power of 80 possible games, and numbers so large that human brain can't truly visualize it. Even grandmasters lose. Even perfect players collapse under time. Life works the same way. Your choice matter, but you're never fully in control of the board. Fucking hell. So what can we do? We relax, and we play. But what are the odds of succeeding? Statistically, the chance of becoming a millionaire is 1 in 140. It's not amazing, but it's not impossible. Here's what I get a bit motivational. Sometimes you create your own luck. Not magically, but by pushing the world in the direction that you want it to go. The coin might never land on its edge, but there is always a chance.